Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
The meeting is called to order at 4:02 p.m. by Board President Mrs. Marla Adams. Present are Secretary Mr. Steve Hanger and Board Member Mrs. Christina Gunter and Superintendent Nathan Freed. It is recommended that the agenda for the October 6, 2022 special budget hearing meeting be approved as presented, with additions, corrections, or deletions as recommended by the board, and I think there are no additions if I'm. May I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made by Mrs. Gunter. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Hanger. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. We now have a discussion of the 2023 additional budget items.
Okay, we have some changes here. Basically, what I'm going to discuss, those of you that were at the last September budget hearing, our numbers in education fund are staying 100% the same, so there are no changes to the proposed budget in education. That's $16,025,940. The operations that we originally advertised is also staying the same at the $6,045,225. The reason that we wanted to open this budget back up and have this meeting is we are going to, or I am proposing, a change in debt service. And what we've got since the original budget meeting in September, we learned that we had an increase in assessed value of about $100 million for our school corporation, about an 18% increase in assessed value. Typically, your assessed value will go up 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5%, and ours actually went up almost 18 to 100 million. So with that, what that opportunity does for us as a school corporation, I know all summer, Dr. Haddon and I, one of the things we kept talking about, the security upgrades, how we can make things safer for our kids, for our staff, make our buildings more secure. And obviously, when you do those things, that costs a lot of money. And of course, taxpayers are always concerned. Everybody wants to do those things, but no one wants to pay more money. We certainly understand that. So what this does with the change in assessed value is it gives us the opportunity as a school corporation to take on some short-term debt in the amount of about $600,000. And this would be with the school corporation securing general obligation bonds. And I've got that listed there under the debt service. But what this will do is this will allow us to raise funds, take on a very short-term debt. We will take on that $600,000 debt, pay that off in July of 2023 is the plan. So again, very short-term. The major point of this is to keep our tax rate neutral. Okay, this is not something that we would venture into if it was going to cause a massive increase or any increase in taxpayers having to take the bill on that. So we can take on a short-term debt, we can pay that off in July, we can secure these general obligation bonds, we can keep the tax rate neutral and be able to provide all of those security and safety upgrades in the amount of about $600,000. again, education has stayed the same, operations has stayed the same. The debt service went from about 2.75 million to the new number, 3,362,085. So when you look at the actual budget proposal on Form 3, again, the education fund, exactly the same, 16,025,940. Operations fund, exactly the same as it was in September, $6,045,225 with a rate of 0.9615. The debt service fund, this was the change area. It is now listed at $3,362,085 with a new tax rate of 0.6466. So when you add your totals columns, the total 2023 proposed budget, $25,433,250 with a tax rate of 1.6081. And again, as we talked about in September, that tax rate is advertised extremely high. That will not be the tax rate, but we want to make sure that we secure funds needed to make improvements and keep the school operations running efficiently. So that is the proposed changes, and that's why this meeting, special meeting was called today. Thank you.
Any questions?
I have a question. Can you elaborate for public a little bit about what security measures we are going to use the $600,000 for, please?
Absolutely, that is an excellent question. I should have included that. With our plans, and Dr. Hack and I have kind of developed a plan to continue with security measures and upgrades. The first thing we are looking at is getting rid of all keys to exterior doors, having everything to be a keyless access. Unfortunately, with keys, you never know who has access to your buildings at any possible time. So the first measure, in fact, that you'll see is that all of our buildings will become keyless. We would be able to control who has access rights to the buildings. We'll be able to monitor who's in the buildings and at what times. We will be able to, if someone needs a key, say for example, we have a lay coach that needs access to the buildings from 4 to 6 every night, we can set up their key access from that specific time. Basically, we control everything and who is accessing our buildings and completely getting rid of keys. That would be first and foremost. We're also looking at upgrading our radio communication system. This is putting in some new towers, repeaters, making our conversion from our radios from an analog to a digital signal. Right now, our system is still on an analog, and sometimes it's very difficult for our bus drivers and buildings to be able to communicate with each other with that old system. And so that would kind of bring us up to speed where we need to be there. We're also looking at upgrading security cameras in certain buildings, just to again kind of get them in line with the times. I know the high school has had some upgrades there. The middle school, this building was built. Our elementary school still needs some work there with trying to upgrade the cameras there. And you know, there's some things, I'll just be totally honest, that we have in mind that we don't necessarily want to share with the general public because they are security measures, but just basically, you know, we want to do everything we can in our power to make our buildings safer for our students, staff, and more secure. And that's, you know, this was an opportunity to be able to do that. And so those are some of the highlighted changes there, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Well, could I ask something real quick?
Sure you can.
There is an upgrade also on that plan for the Morgan School, is that correct?
As far as,
Because our security there is probably, I'm gonna say older, or at least not quite as well founded as
Yes, these would be all buildings in the corporation.
Okay.
We would be able to do that, so, you know, wherever your child is currently attending, yes, they would definitely feel, the benefits of those upgrades at all locations, yes, sir.
And if I remember correctly, Dr. Hatton said the last meeting that this is also going to be able to be upgraded as new technology becomes available, unlike what we have now.
That is an excellent point. One of the reasons that, one of the companies that we're looking at is going to give us the ability to continue to upgrade and build upon their system. Some of the things done in the past, you may buy one system, but then when, you know, technology changes every day, it seems like once you put something in, it's obsolete. You know, my kids don't have any idea what a Walkman is, or an 8-track tape player, or even a CD player, really, for that matter. So we're looking at opportunities and businesses, companies that will allow us to build upon their current platforms. What we don't want to do is purchase, you know, security measures here, and then we need to upgrade the cameras or some other system within our buildings and have to go with another group and another group. What we're looking at is being able to build from those first measures that we put in.
Okay, is there anything else?
That's all I had. Thank you, guys. Very good questions, too.
It is recommended that this meeting be adjourned at 4:13 p.m. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made by Mr. Hanger. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Gunter. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Let me go turn off my live stream.